It's the weekly show about rAVe with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.
Hey everyone, it's Gary K and
Steph Beckett, and it is another episode of rAVe TV, another Wednesday at noon Eastern.
Yeah, and I apologize. I look like I'm in a prison cell, but I kind of feel like I'm in a prison cell right now.
You are in a prison cell.
Kind of. I'm at our old office. We are moving our studio, and I'm helping to pack up a little bit. But we come to you live every Wednesday at noon on ravepubs.com, which is where most of you apparently watch us based on the data that we're getting, on youtube.com/ravepubs, on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Hey, by the way, speaking of Twitter or X, stuff. It's all of a sudden my app changed to X last night.
Yeah,
I opened it up and it's X finally.
I think it looks really ugly.
Do you?
Yeah, I think it looks ugly. I think that's like the dumbest branding decision you can ever make. Like, Twitter has so much brand recognition.
It'll be very interesting to see how they overcome that. I mean, here's what he said. It's interesting. Here's what he hired the lady from NBC to be a CEO. Here's what she said, I should say. She said that they want to become more than Twitter, and that as long as they have the brand Twitter, people are going to think them as just a tweeting service. They want to become WeChat of the world, right? Whereas WeChat in China is what people use to pay with. It's a social media service. It's also an entertainment service that has like Apple TV and Netflix style services inside of it. It also is a news service where they have their own, like Apple News, where you can have one subscription fee and get access to thousands of publications. And then it's also Find My iPhone-ish service where everyone who's on it I don't know if you've ever used WeChat. It's pretty awesome. Like WeChat is like a substantial app. Like we don't have anything like that here at all in North America. So he wants to turn X into that, and his whole thing was that branding of Twitter would not work to get people to stop thinking about them for just Twitter. So if they pull that off, it would be a good branding decision. If they don't pull it off, it's a horrible branding decision. So it'd be very interesting.
I just don't think that it's going to work. I think that like you have to build upon what Twitter already is in order to make it something else. You can't just scratch this thing that everyone knows exactly what it is and how to use it and then be like, okay, now it's this new thing. Like everyone hates it. So I don't know.
I mean, it'll be interesting to watch. I mean, we'll whatever episode this is, this episode 121, we should make a note and go back a year from now and play this segment and see if he was right. A genius and we didn't know it, or if it was a dumb idea. It'll be very interesting.
Yeah,
I from an outsider's point of view, I think it's an awfully large attempt. Like it's going to take a lot of money and a lot of resources to actually pull that off. And
does Twitter have that money?
I mean, he does. He's the richest person in the world.
For sure, but like Twitter doesn't.
No, I mean, Twitter, the last quarter was they finally were profitable again after not being profitable for like 5 years. But it's going to take a lot of resources to pull that off, right? It's going to be substantial. And my bet is that he'll end up buying someone big and merging them into this app. My bet is he's got a plan to do that. So, but anyway, we were here to not talk about that. We're here to talk about
we can talk about whatever. Yeah.
All we just want to talk about Oppenheimer. Yes. I finally saw Oppenheimer, and I mentioned last week I had not seen it yet. I was blown away. I haven't seen Barbie yet. So I was blown away with Oppenheimer. The music was incredible. I'm old, so I actually bought the music track and just like freely doing it. I bought the music track and have listened to it multiple times since then. Song number 2 is the best of the songs. And song number 2, and I want to go see the movie again. And I want to see an IMAX again because the cuts are so rapid. You lose so much content. And like what I saw, like a mini documentary. We were talking about this before we started about how many famous people are in that movie.
Oh my God.
There's like 7
it's so crazy.
that have won Academy Awards that were in that daggone movie.
Yeah, you like blink and there's a new guy. I'm like, oh my God, was that like and it's like people that I recognize, that my generation recognizes. Of course, it's people like that your generation, like it like you will just blink and you will be like, wait, I've seen that person before. Was that person in? And then you like look it up later and you're like, oh my God. Like I think it was like 30 cameos by the time it was done, because of course the Manhattan Project was very large. Like there were a lot of like scientists involved with every piece and part. So like in order to make that realistic, they had to bring in like all these people to like have short cameos about the parts that they were involved in. So like you blink once and I'm like, is that Rami Malek? Oh, okay.
No, he had like he's an Academy Award winner who has a part that's like,
literally he's in and out.
Total minutes.
Yeah,
it's
and crazy. I was like, wait, is that the guy who played young Han Solo? And then he was there too. Josh Peck of Drake and Josh, he was there.
Yeah, by the way, what about the Drake? Like Josh has made it big.
Drake is disappeared. I think Drake is on the run. I think that he is a fugitive. Like I think that because he I think there were like sexual assault charges against him. So I think that he is on the run.
My kids watched that show growing up. So you tell me, you think Barbie's still better, and I'm going to go see Barbie this weekend so that I can make sure that I can enter in the fray of that argument. But I went to the movie and I went to see the Tom Cruise, the Mission Impossible movie, and it was funny. Barbie was getting out. So this is like last Sunday. Barbie was getting out, and everyone going to their cars was dressed in pink dresses.
In pink, yes, I love. It's such a fun phenomenon. So I've seen Barbie 3 times. I've seen Barbie thrice now. And it's not that I like it better than Oppenheimer, but Oppenheimer is not a movie I'm just going to like throw on and watch with the girls, like Oppenheimer's long. It's 3 hours. I totally get why it was 3 hours. Yeah. There's a lot to do, a lot to talk about, much to discuss, much to think about. But like that last hour, that's very, very procedural when he's in front of that like military court, and it's just like, that's very long, so that's not for girlies who and the people who just want to throw something on. Like Barbie's for everybody. So I think that it's just like a little more fun of a watch, even though I will agree that Oppenheimer was amazing. It was great. I loved it, but I wouldn't call it like a fun watch, You're like watching this man devolve into madness over creating something that could destroy entire countries. Like, it's not like, wow, such a good time.
Yeah. And for those ladies that have gone to see and gentlemen who have gone to see Barbie, keep your clothing just in case you go to the Eras tour with Taylor Swift, because you can wear the same stuff there and fit right in as well.
But I got a t-shirt from the Alamo. I don't know if you've ever been to the Alamo Theater. It's in Raleigh. It's like very vintagey and cool, and they like have a VHS rental system in front, and they had like a whole line of Barbie shirts. So I did pick one up. I went and saw Haunted Mansion last night, actually.
Oh, is it good?
It's cute. It's fun. Silly? It's silly, but it's fun. Like they got really good.
One of the guys that plays in it is from Atlanta, and I love his character on the show Atlanta.
Yes, the main character, I believe. Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah, he's so good in Atlanta. There's this one scene. I don't know if you watched Atlanta, but there's one scene where they're looting the whole town of Atlanta. It was, that particular scene is supposed to take place in summer 2020. And he's taking a air fryer back at the store. He's like walking in a store that's being looted, and he wants to return the air fryer. It's so funny to be carrying this air fryer around the whole episode.
No, he's great. I can't remember what his name is, but like the main character of Haunted Mansion is fantastic. Owen Wilson is actually fantastic in the movie. He's really funny. And then okay, I don't know why his name's escaping me. Who's the really short actor? Danny DeVito. Danny
DeVito. Yeah.
He's amazing. He lights up every room that he entered in that movie. Like
he's He's popular with your generation thanks to
Yeah.
Sunny
Always
Philadelphia, whatever
Sunny.
that.
Yeah.
Always Sunny Philadelphia.
He's
That TV
crazy.
show.
I just love him.
Yeah.
He just plays like this kind of, he always plays some kind of insanely wackadoodle character. And he did the same thing in this movie, and it was great.
Yeah. And for those of you that are my age, that's the guy that played in Taxi. Okay, so we need to go on and move to item number 2 on our agenda today.
Yeah, now that we've spent 12 minits just talking about movies.
We have a free code for you to get into Cedia for free and the new CI Expo. All you do is use code rAVE CE23 or scan that QR code, type in rAVE CE23, rAVE CE23, and that gets you in the show for free.
For free.
And that's going to be a co-located show with the two events together. In fact, we're just talking to one of our clients before this, Steph. They are doing something big at Cedia this year, and Legrand will be at Cedia this year too. Mm-hmm. And if you like free coffee, they're going to be giving away free coffee at their booth at Cedia this year, and so there's a reason alone to make sure you go. They're going to be straddling Cedia and CI Expo. Their booth is literally right in the middle. They're going to have residential and commercial stuff there, and they're going to be at booth 1506. And we actually have a QR code. If you scan that QR code, we have a link for you to learn more about what they're going to do and why you should register. And of course, use our code to register. And they're a sponsor of rAVe TV, and they're a great sponsor. And they're the glue company. We've talked about them many times. They'll have their C2G brand there. They'll have Luxwell there. They'll have Daylight there. I'm sure Mark Coxon knows a lot of the people that'll be there. He's our guest coming up in just a minute. Yeah. Because he used to work for that company. He's also known as Daylight Man. I wonder if he forgot about that character. Maybe we can bring Mark on and let you talk to him, Steph. And the first question should be what the heck happened to Daylight Man?
Okay, sounds good. Hello, Mark. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us. So as Gary was talking, what happened to Daylight Man?
Were you ever in the know about Daylight Man? Did you ever see Daylight Man at an InfoComm, or you weren't around? So I became the blue spandex morph suit clad Daylight Man for Daylight Screen for a couple of years at InfoComm. Okay. Did pull up contests in the booth on the new Fast Folds frames and things of that nature at InfoComm. So when I left, I actually gave the suit. The suit is company property. I gave the suit to Legrand, and my suggestion was that they should continue the campaign, but do it Colonel Sanders style, and just start putting all sorts of different people in the suit, but never letting on that somebody else was in the suit. Right?
That's amazing. So yes.
One time they're 5 foot tall and 200 pounds, and one time they're 6'8" and 120. Right?
Yes, but, and just never let anyone know the secret. That's amazing. I can't believe I did not know that. So tell me a little bit more. You wrote a blog for us recently about creating an innovative mindset. And this is not like a heavy technology blog, but you are someone who often will write a heavy technology blog, and then you'll turn around and write one that's a little more about management and general things about like how to run a company and to keep employees happy, especially in the weird kind of time that we're in moving forward when we're deciding where people work best. So what inspired you to write this in particular about creating an innovative mindset for a company?
My job is in experiential AV right now with XTG. Mm-hmm. And so, many times what we're focusing on is why would somebody use this space to do this task? Because really that's the question. If we can do the task from anywhere, the task can technically be done from almost anywhere, unless you're delivering a couch or punching a rivet into a piece of metal at a factory, then yes, of course the job has to be done in that place. But for most knowledge workers, the tasks can be done anywhere. So what actually makes this space the best place to do the task? And in talking to a lot of companies, most of the I guess counter arguments I get are, oh, well, we have this much real estate, or we have these 7 offices we need to use, or we have this technology we bought 6 years ago before the pandemic. And unfortunately, those are things that are actually becoming a liability for companies because they're sunk costs, technical debt, et cetera. And so I really wanted to write this article about break it thinking, about You know, if a VC, if a venture capitalist came to you as a CEO and said, I'm going to give you $100 million and I want you to build the company that kills the company you work for now.
Okay.
What would you build? What would you build? What would you do? Who would you hire? What kind of space would you take? What would you build out? So kind of getting in that mindset of shedding all the technical debt, all the history, the culture, everything you've inherited as a company, and looking at that in a whole new light as if you started today, what would you build? Because really that's the beacon, right? Like that's what should be built. And all these other things are just holding us back from doing it. So in order to create a North Star, you really have to put yourself in that start from scratch, beginners kind of mindset.
And in the like best case scenario outcome of this exercise, like say you were like, okay, here is what our perfect competitor would be that would put us out of business. Like, what would you then do with that? Like aim to become that?
That's exactly what you do. So we're always walking people through that process, but I say you have to have this beacon first. Like, what is the desired outcome? What is the ideal? If this is the ideal situation, then what you have to do is you look at the process of how do you optimize? So optimize what you have now to get as close as you can, then spend to elevate the small little incremental improvements that you can do to elevate things to get closer, and then have this longer term plan to innovate as leases come up, as capital investments start to come back into the company, as those things, that then you're actually putting those things not towards legacy mindset and just redoing what you already have, but actually starting to build out what should be new. And eventually you'll make that transition. It may take a little longer, but but without the beacon, all we do is recreate the past, right?
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Just like the definition of insanity, we're doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome.
Yeah, I mean, even as AV people, and I've complained about this for a long time, but
Right.
even as AV people, a client will come to us and say, design an AV system for this space. And we'll take a floor plan and a reflected ceiling plan, and all of a sudden we'll start putting technology in the space. And I've in multiple classes that I've given, like for Avixa and stuff, I'll put a floor plan up on the screen, and I'll say, what does this company do? And you can't tell from the floor plan. So how are we designing systems for people to work when based on a floor plan or a reflected ceiling plan, when we don't even actually know what people are trying to accomplish in the space? And so it's really more of that zooming out and just getting people in the mindset of zooming back out to understand how to be intentional about what we design and what we're doing. Whether we're in corporate real estate, redesigning our business, or whether we're in AV doing a new huddle room for hybrid work of 2021 instead of hybrid work of,
Yeah. Do you feel like in our industry, it's kind of hard to add like vision into it because for many people, it's like so natural to just naturally be like, okay, well, immediately this is what the technology needs to be. Like, and I feel like vision is completely kind of left out of that sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's a misunderstanding of where our value is. I think in the past, we were the purveyors of these magic boxes. Like, 15, 20 years ago, like nobody knew how AV worked, how things went together. There were a multitude of black boxes in a rack somewhere that were all doing these little disparate kind of, very specialized things. And as technology has gotten more approachable, as technology's consolidated, one box now does the same thing 5 boxes used to do. A lot of things are now virtualized and cloud-based and don't require a box at all. Somehow we still have this identity that we're the purveyors of these boxes. And so we like jumping into that conversation really quick, thinking that's where our value's at. But honestly, most of our customers have probably already done a lot of research on the technology equipment. So if you just put yourself in that box, you're going to be just a commodity selling this product that they've already researched. And so I really think our value as integrators is, we work with a lot of different companies. We can help other companies explore what other people are doing, what trends are in the market, what we're seeing other people do, and really having more of a business level conversation first. Say the boxes are going to work themselves out, right? Like if you have a room that's this deep and this wide, it's going to need X amount of speakers, no matter what brand or type you choose, right? Or it's going to need a camera with this field of view to capture all the people at the table. Those decisions will start to work themselves out, but we really need to be having more conversation about what people are trying to accomplish and where they're trying to elevate what they have, right?
Yeah.
So
that makes a lot of sense. Well, thank you so much, Mark, for hopping on for a few minutes. Last question I have for you is where can people contact you if they want to connect or reach out or learn a little bit more about the blogs that you've been writing for us?
Well, obviously, if you go to rAVe Pubs and you click on Blog Squad, you can find my name there, Mark Coxon. I think there are 300 plus, 400 plus blogs over the last 10 years there. So that's a great place. You can, or you can catch me on X, Steph. I'm on X, I guess is what it is now. You can catch me on X as at AV, as an audio video phenom, and connect with me there as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mark. Appreciate it.
Hey, no worries, guys. Thanks a lot. Nice to see you.
All right, bringing Gary back on here. Hello, Gary.
It's funny he's saying that. You talk about change. The building that I'm in right now, where our studio was, where we moved, it's almost like we predicted the future. We decided to move out of this building last year because we didn't feel like this building was serving us properly. We moved into a much nicer building, actually. Interestingly enough, the building that's
the one that I'm in now.
The building that I'm in right now, they're converting it into apartments. So that's talk about they're getting it. They're talking about changing. When the pandemic started, one of the first things I said in launch week 1, you go back and in our introductory session back in April of or is it April or May of 2020, I said. Right. I think commercial real estate is going to die a rapid death. And it's going to be the industry that is affected the most by the pandemic. And that even if we come out of the pandemic, it's going to have it's going to change forever. And this is exactly what's happening. This is a commercial building that's being turned into a residential building, which is happening in San Francisco. It's happening in New York. It's happening in LA, happening in Atlanta, because, the fact of the matter is we're doing what we're doing now. We're sometimes in the office, our producers at our house. We're sometimes in our office, and sometimes we're at home, and it's worked out. We're working it out. Now, if we're in the service business, we don't have a choice there. But if we're, in our, hospitality or something like that, or we're in the medical industry. Although I have a friend actually that lives down the street from me. That Steph, before the pandemic, he's a doctor. He was going to the office every day. Now he goes in the office once a week and does all of his other work.
Does he do telehealth?
Yeah, doing teledoc. And it's funny. I love using teledoc because I have not had to go to urgent care because you can use teledoc. Actually, that's true. Not true. I had to go to urgent care, but not nearly as much. Right. Because the things that you do at teledoc are things that you do at urgent care. They're like, okay, well, let me write your prescription for this or that, or you're fine, right? Which is what most time we hear. Well, that stuff can be done on teledoc. So that's true. What Mark says is true. You got to kind of look at the workflow and build around that rather than assuming that you can kind of not know the way they're going to work in the future.
That's true.
Anyway, on to our next story.
On to our next thing.
Really quickly, but they have they now have another all-in-one video bar, the VB350, which is an 18 times zoom camera, has audio tracking, audio fencing. With that audio fencing technology, I love stuff. That's the technology where if you move out of the camera, where the camera can't see you, then it cuts the audio off. So that's great for an environment like you're sitting in, Steph. It's Zoom certified, and it has this new mode called conversational view. It prevents the camera from moving back and forth as conversations are happening. The camera doesn't bounce back and forth, especially when people are on the extremes of the camera view. I think it's using some AI there to solve some of those problems. So check them out by scanning the QR code that'll pop on the screen in just a second here. Oh, it's already on the screen. And you can get more information on that rAVe camera. So
sounds good. Well, our temperature check survey for August is now open, and this month we are focusing on resimercial technology, which makes sense. We're getting ready for CEDIA Expo / Commercial Integrator Expo, as Gary and I mentioned, and resimercial is obviously going to be a big focus of that show now that a commercial and residential show are going to be there together on the same show floor. Makes a lot of sense that we're starting to focus a little more on this. So there are 3 questions. It takes about 2 minutes to answer. And as always, we are giving away 2 $50 Amazon gift cards to those who answer. So please go ahead and answer that. It's really important for us to get your take on this because we want to know exactly how big resimercial is in our industry. So we want to know, we obviously want to be able to cover it more if it's something that a lot of you care about. So yeah.
One of those brands that's been big in the residential market that's trying to come into the commercial market is a brand called Nice.
Yes.
I don't know if I like that brand name that much because when you Google the word Nice, a lot of things come up. But they are definitely making some changes out there, and they announced a new board among them. They basically removed everybody and brought in a whole bunch of new people that sort of like re-engineered their company. I kind of watching to see what happens there. They're the ones that bought Jeremy's. They bought Speakercraft. You remember years ago? They were called Nortec. I mean, or is it Nortec? Yeah, Nortec. Then they changed the Nice. I don't know if I would have maybe used a slightly different word, but in any case, they have.
I love how we're just
one of those companies that has a little bit of. They have a lot of audio companies wrapped up into one brand, and they're trying to make a bigger. They're trying to become bigger in the industry and also move into the commercial side. So we'll hear from them at CE at the CEDIA and the CIX show. And a company that is in the audio side, as you saw, if you watched really carefully, Steph, I'm sure you did. You saw that Mark Coxon, like you, was using a Shure microphone, and Shure getting a lot of press for the new MXA series product. Let's take a look at the flagship MXA product, the 920. And how it does camera tracking. This is explain to you how it makes camera tracking better.
A camera tracking system can help all participants to have an equally effective communication experience. But without precise location data from the microphone, inaccurate camera views and movements can leave far-end participants feeling frustrated and fatigued. The MXA 920 ceiling array makes great camera tracking easy. With its multi-zone automatic coverage technology, it's easy to define the areas that you want to hear and see. Built-in voice activity detection ensures that unwanted room noises from keyboards or chip bags won't trigger a camera movement. The MXA 920 identifies each talker's precise location in real time with X, Y, and Z coordinates. These X, Y, and Z coordinates enable the camera system to frame a single person at a distance or capture simultaneous talkers. Unlike other array microphones that can only assign one camera preset per lobe, the MXA 920 can identify an almost infinite number of talker positions to support a totally fluid automatic tracking system either with or without presets. Even in larger rooms with multiple microphones and cameras, the MXA 920 accurately identifies who's talking and where they are in the room, so that the camera system always shows the right person at the right time. The MXA 920's API allows it to be integrated with all kinds of camera tracking systems, whether they're hardware or software-based, with one camera or multiple cameras. Learn how the Microflex Advance MXA 920 can enable a premium video conferencing experience in your meeting room.
Okay, and for some InfoComm news, InfoComm 2024 is going to heavily focus on digital transformation because Avixa is going to co-locate with Object Management Group, which is like a kind of digital transformation organization. So the theme for next year's show is going to be Transform InfoComm 2024. So it's kind of taking a big step into the emerging tech realm. I know that Megan, who helms obviously our launch code publication, is really excited about this, which I just find it interesting that they are kind of taking a big like augmented reality enterprise kind of step in that into our industry. But I think it will be interesting for sure. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like or how that's going to change what the show is going to be quite yet. But Gary and I are going to keep an eye on it, and we will let all of you know as soon as we know more information.
And I would have to say that we, again, kind of predicted the future. We started launch code over a year ago thinking that this was going to be a future part of the market. And look at this. InfoComm has decided to add that as part of the industry. So we definitely believe in it. We have the only publication in our industry that's covering it. So I think that this is going to be big.
Right.
And yeah.
So this next demo that's going to be at CEDIA is one that you're really excited about, right?
I am definitely. Last year they had the best demo on the show floor, and they built their own theater. It's a bunch of brands that get together and do their own thing. It's Green Excellence, Storm Audio, Grimani, and Row One now is going to provide the seating. And they built an all-in-one theater demo. It was the best at last year's CEDIA show. I'm excited to see how they one up it this year. I forget, it's 11.7 sound or something like 11. I can't remember what the number is, but it's like the ultimate home theater, more like a movie theater, and I'm excited about that. So we'll definitely cover that. It's impossible to truly cover it because we can't duplicate the audio. But I do have some breaking news for you that I told some people yesterday that I thought, well, I don't know if I want to report it yet, but we'll report it because I think too many people know about it now. The UCX show, which is happening in Austin, September 13th and 14th, will get canceled later this week. And they have not sent out an official announcement yet, but they're now notifying their exhibitors that apparently they're going to cancel the show. So, there's no official word from the organization, but I have a copy of emails from some brands that said that they've been notified. So the timing is tough, right? The middle of September. A UC show, and it was right after CEDIA and right after the CIX show. So I think they should have probably moved it to October. But it's unfortunate. We were looking forward to covering that show, and we thought about sending a big team there. We had backed off and decided to send 1 or 2 people. But we do want to remind you that CEDIA is coming up, that you should register using our code at rAVe CE23. And we have also the ProAV Symposium coming up. You can register for that by going to launch.com or scan that QR code, lavnch.com. I am excited about ProAV Symposium, which is at the end of this month. Actually, I think it's almost the last day of the month, August 30th, right? At 1 p.m.
Yes.
So register for that and make sure you have it. You put that on your calendar. If you go ahead and register for it, you'll get notified. And if you can't join us live, we'll let you know how to join us after the fact and get access to the archives. It's the only way to get access is to register for it. So definitely go register. So.
All right. And I think that is our show. Yep, that's it. All right, Gary, as always, it's been a pleasure doing another episode of rAVe TV with you. I will let you get back to, the last few days in our office over there before we move out. And
we're now in 2 offices that we're combining to one. That's going to make it a lot easier for us. So
exactly.
Steph doesn't have to worry about it. And I took my scooter home, Steph. You never even used it. But
I told you I will not ever use a scooter, but I appreciate you so much for encouraging me to step out of my comfort zone. But thank you, everyone, for watching. We will see you next week, same time, same place, noon Eastern.
It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.